An Introduction to Citizen Science in the Garden of the Gods, part of the Rocky Mountain Field Institute Citizen Science Training. Our work as citizen scientists will begin in the Garden of the Gods, in Colorado Springs, Colorado. This amazing public land resource is the busiest city park in the United States. In 2014, Garden of the Gods was awarded TripAdvisor's Traveler's Choice Award as the best park to visit in the United States. The Garden of the Gods has at least 2 million visitors per year, and it is only 2 square miles. As a result, there are many recreation impacts. Most of the trails in the garden were established in the 1930s and were never designed to accommodate the current level of use. For example, many of the climbing access trails are straight lines up to the base of climbs and do not consider the surrounding topography and effects of the water falling from the rocks. The primary goals of RMFI's Garden of the Gods Community Restoration Program are to provide stewardship opportunities for a broad spectrum of the community, including individuals, local schools, community organizations, businesses, and religious institutions. To foster community awareness about the ecology and natural history of the Garden of the Gods Park. To educate the community about the current threats to the park, and to complete critical restoration work in the most severely degraded areas in the park. As citizen scientists, we will monitor the restoration efforts completed by RMFI volunteer crews. The research questions that drive our monitoring efforts include: how does the trail change over time? How do slope and aspect relate to trail tread depth and width? Do structures slow the rate of change on a trail? Is this correlated with slope and aspect? And do trail improvements redirect traffic onto the designated trail, thereby reducing vegetation impacts on social trails? Leading from these research questions, our research goals are to create a long-term monitoring data set that records trail depth and width over time in RMFI project areas. Another goal is to compare the tread depth and width measurements before and after structures are implemented in RMFI restoration projects. These data will be used to assess the success of restoration efforts. Another goal is to analyze the effects of slope and aspect on trail dynamics. And finally, to investigate plant recovery on closed social trails. In order to meet these goals, we have several data collection objectives. We want to measure the trail tread depth and width over time. We want to measure the slope and aspect of a trail. We want to collect photo point data over time. And we want to measure the vegetative cover and richness on social trails. There are several learning objectives for the Citizen Science Training Initiative. After completing this RMFI Citizen Science Training, which is composed of these videos, volunteers will be able to explain how recreational impacts affect trails and their environs, define ecology and identify biotic and abiotic factors in a field setting, describe the effects of erosion, identify erosion on the landscape, define slope and aspect and know how to measure it, characterize the trail profile using longitudinal cross-section and thalweg measurements, discuss the ecological differences between native and non-native plant species in an ecosystem, identify native and non-native plant species in our project areas, collect vegetative data including percent cover and richness using a quadrat method, and monitor sites with consistent photo documentation using photo points. These learning objectives are designed to both increase your knowledge as a citizen and meet the cognitive and procedural demands of the Citizen Science Initiative. So when you leave the program, you will not only have more knowledge, you will know how to perform your volunteer duty with success and with reliability. After you complete the training program, you'll be assigned a trail and you can work with another volunteer, of course, and that will be your trail to exercise your knowledge and also contribute to the protection of the resource by engaging in this monitoring effort.